Welcome to Networking RX, a podcast devoted to helping business professionals like you enhance your networking skills in order to become more proficient giving and receiving quality business referrals and improving the overall quality of your life and the lives of those around you. The Networking RX podcast is a production of AmSpirit Business Connections, an organization whose mission is to empower business success through networking.
Back right after I bought the networking organization I was in and rebranded it as AmSpirit Business Connections. Some of you might not know that. People call me the founder of AmSpirit Business Connections, and okay, whatever. But anyhow, there was another organization I was part of. I had an opportunity to buy it, and I did. So, and rebranded it as AmSpirit. But right around that time, there was a member in the organization that I had met. His name was Michael Dirks. And he was a leadership trainer with LMI, Leadership Management Institute, International, one or the other, LMI. And I'd seen Mike do a series of presentations and programs outside of AmSpirit. He had invited me to one. I was very intrigued by it, so I signed up for the course. It was a 2-year long. We met monthly. There was a lot of homework in between, a lot of listening to tapes. It was very good. Now I know some people say, well, this is better, that's better. That's fine. It's not a contest. It was a good program. I got a lot out of it, and I think that's all that really matters. Who has the very, very best? Who cares? So it was a good program, and I've gotten a lot out of it over the years. And I won't get into all of that, but I attribute a lot of all the things that I have accomplished to going through that, because it's really kind of changed my mindset as to how I approach things. Again, neither here nor there. But one of the things that Mike had said somewhere along in the program, and it might have been actually part of the program, but it was something that he repeated quite often, and it has stuck with me over the years, is that, and he was referencing some material, and he basically said, and it was a metaphor, he says, we all like chicken, but we don't like bones. We all like to eat chicken, but we don't want to have bones in our chicken, and okay, we all get that. And he just went on to say, he says, some chicken has more bones than other chicken. And what he was getting at was that whatever you're going to run into, you're going to run into bones. It's not going to be all chicken, but it's not going to be all bones either. And so you just need to make a determination: is the chicken that you're going to get worth the bones that you have to contend with? And that's just kind of an ongoing, thought process. And I think about that when I think about networking, and I listen to people talk about networking. I listen to people talk about books, and they talk about articles. Yeah, book's not really worth it. And it's like, okay, it might not be. There are a lot of bones, a lot of fluff, a lot of bones in there that you don't want to contend with. But it doesn't mean there's no chicken. It doesn't mean there's not something in there that you can't take advantage of. And I can't think of a book that I've read where there hasn't been something where it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's good. That's good. Now, the rest of the book, may have been difficult to read, probably the polite way of putting it. Not a lot of chicken. But there was that chicken there, and that chicken then serves to help me. And the same thing with respect to articles or training programs that I've been. The one I went through with Mike was good. A lot of chicken. There was a lot of chicken there. Some of the coursework we did, some of the sessions, there were more bones than chicken, or more bones than other sessions, and you're going to have that. Not everything is going to be, every podcast I've ever done, one is the worst. There's one of these 700, almost 800 episodes that's the absolute worst, and one is the absolute best. And that's just, and there are a lot in between. Doesn't mean they're bad or good or anything. It just means one's the worst. And sometimes you run into a lot of chicken, and sometimes you have more bones. But I think about that when I listen to people talk about things like social media. And I'll be the first to admit that social media is really it's always evolving. I mean, obviously, it was what MySpace, I think, was the first one. It's no longer around, and then LinkedIn has hung on for a long, long time. Facebook's hung on for a long, long time, and it's kind of evolved. And there are a lot of things about those platforms that I will I will term them as bones. I don't need to see it. I don't need to see the political rant. I don't need to see I don't care what you had for breakfast. I don't care what became of what you had for breakfast. Yeah, it's a nice wedding dress. I don't know that I need to see that. Um, so there are bones with respect to social media. Um, but I don't swear off social media because there's still chicken there. I've met a lot of great people through social media, a lot of great people. And I could, certainly post pandemic, when the pandemic hit, just the couple social media with the ability to have a Zoom conversation. My network has exploded. AmSpirit Business Connections has really grown as a result of I would say the pandemic, but what the pandemic did as far as teaching us how to, more people became active on social media, and bad actors too, more bones, but a lot of great chicken. I think of people that I've met that I probably would have not met. Uh, Berta Medina was one of the first people that I met when the pandemic hit, and I still remember that conversation. And we're still in communication, still close. We're friends. Um, I learned a lot from her. She's somebody I can reach out to, and I like to think that I'm somebody she can reach out to and provide value to. Michelle Murder is somebody who's in AmSpirit Business Connections, and um, I probably wouldn't have met her. She just would have been another member, one of the hundreds of members in the organization, but for getting on a Zoom call, learning more about one another on social media. Adam Connors, who's out in New York, Hoboken, New Jersey, the fifth borough, as he calls it. Technically, I met him before the pandemic. We had a few conversations, but we really started doing a lot, with respect to after the pandemic. And I guess it doesn't matter. I met him on social media. And that's the point of this. Amidst all the chaos on social media, here's a guy who has helped me immensely, has made referrals to me, tried to connect me with speaking opportunities. Nothing's hit yet, but we're working back and forth. He's helping me with books I'm doing. I'm helping him with books he's doing. Being on my show, introducing me to other people. Um, my point is that don't swear off things because there's bones there. Now you might say, it's not worth it. It's not worth me buying the book because there's too many bones there for me to find the chicken. Okay, fair enough. That's totally fair. But you can't say it's worthless. You might say, well, I'm not getting on social media because there's too much chaos, there's too many people trying to pitch, there's too many people trying to do this, there's too many people trying to do that. Okay, fine, that's a determination that you have to make. I can't determine what your time is worth or where's the highest and best use of your time. You can. So I don't judge you for that, but I will tell you that there are great people there. Amidst all the bones, there's some good chicken. And you may say, well, it's not worth the effort for me. That's fine, but it's still there. And that, if you choose not to go after it, that's fine. But don't tell me, hey, I don't know how I'm going to get networked. And it's the same thing with networking events. People say, well, I don't want to go to this networking event. I don't want to go to that networking event. I don't want to go to any networking event. I don't want to do any networking, Frank. Networking doesn't work. None of it works anymore. It does. It does. There are good people out there. There are good people. Yes, and I think networking events probably have withstood the test of time because we just behave differently when we're in person. Just social norms. We adhere to social norms where it's easy to get on social media, and it's easy to get on social media and be a buffoon. Post things, say things, do things that we probably wouldn't otherwise say. Be very pitchy on social media with people that we don't know because, well, we don't know them. Um, but the same thing with networking groups or just networking events, I should say. There's opportunity there. Yeah, you're going to run into some situations that are probably going to rub you the wrong way. And if you want to focus on those situations that rub you the wrong way and be turned off by it, then so be it. But there's good things there as well. And that's been my approach to networking and been my approach to using social media. There are good people there, and it's my job to try and find them. I don't have a God-given right or a constitutional right that life is going to sift out all the good opportunity for me, all the good networking people. No, I've got to go find it. It's up to me to find it. And I'm going to, trying to get at that chicken, I'm going to have to deal with some bones. Plain and simple. That's just the way of the world. You just have to make a determination that you're, willing to put up with certain things if you want to get at the good stuff. If you want to swear it off altogether, then you cannot complain that that things are passing you by. You cannot complain. So think about chickens. Think about chicken. Think about bones. As you get out there and network, as you get on social media, you're looking for chicken. You know what? The bad actors, it's just bones. Just deal with it. Move beyond them. Don't engage. You can unconnect from people. You can block people. You can do all sorts of things. It's your job to sort through everything and find the good chicken out there.
Thanks for joining us on the Networking RX podcast. Please put what you've learned into action today and let us know if you have questions, comments, or ideas for future topics. You can email them to us at podcast@amspirit.com. That's AmSpirit.com. Finally, so you never miss an episode, be sure to subscribe to the Networking RX podcast through iTunes, Overcast, or however you receive your podcasts. Now get out and network with someone.
The Networking RX podcast is the copyright production of AmSpirit Business Connection. All rights reserved.